Okay, just imagine this for a second. Tomorrow, you wake up, turn on the news, and every single channel, every website is broadcasting a message from the world's top scientists. It would be, without a doubt, the biggest story in all of human history. And the message is this: everything you think is real, your memories, your body, the world around you, is just code. It's all data running on some cosmic computer we can't even begin to imagine. Can you picture the silence that would fall over the entire planet? So what does happen next? Because a discovery like this isn't just a science headline. It would trigger the most profound identity crisis our species has ever faced. We'd have to rethink, well, everything. And believe it or not, the debates are already happening. So let's dive into the fallout. Here's how we're going to break it down. We'll look at the immediate philosophical fight, how religion might actually adapt, some of the big critiques, the potential dangers to society, and then finally, the big one. What does it all mean? All right, so the very first battleground wouldn't be in the streets, it'd be in our minds. Suddenly, philosophers and thinkers become the most important people on Earth, all wrestling with one question. If our world is a simulation, is any of it even real? So on one side, you have thinkers like David Chalmers. He's got this idea called virtual realism, and his argument is pretty simple. Just because something is virtual, that doesn't make it fake. You know, a simulated life with real emotions, real struggles, real joy, that's still a life. It still counts. But here's where the tension really ramps up. Chalmers sees this as a path to meaning. The critics, though, they see a huge danger. They're worried that if we all just accept this, we'll stop caring about our actual problems. And worse, as one person pointed out, it could be the ultimate tool for control, letting corporations build virtual worlds where they literally own our reality. Okay, so while the philosophers are duking it out, what's happening with religion? You'd think proof of a simulation would completely shatter faith, right? Well, from what we're seeing, it's actually the exact opposite. A lot of believers are adapting, and fast. And this quote just nails it. This user is basically saying, hey, welcome to the party. We've been talking about this for 2 millennia. The whole idea that our physical world is temporary, maybe even an illusion, and that a realer world is waiting, that's not a new concept for them at all. It's just new language for a very old idea. And this is where it gets really fascinating. People are creating a whole new vocabulary for faith. The creator? That's just the programmer. Jesus? He was a beta tester, sent into the system to find bugs and exploit its limits. Miracles? Those are just glitches in the matrix, or maybe somebody with admin access. And heaven? That's the ultimate cloud backup for your consciousness. Which leads to this perfect summary from one commenter. For a lot of people, simulation theory becomes a way to believe in a higher power, a grand design, an architect, but without all the traditional religious baggage. It's a creation story for the digital age. But hold on, not everyone is buying it. In fact, there's a really powerful counterargument that says this isn't some brilliant new idea. It's actually just a high-tech reboot of one of the oldest and maybe most flawed religious ideas out there. This take from a debate forum on Reddit is pretty blunt. The argument is that if you strip away all the cool, modern jargon like code and processor, what you're left with looks an awful lot like the ancient gods of Greece or Rome. So let's break that down. The big problem is that simulation theory doesn't actually answer the ultimate question. Why is there anything at all? It just kicks the can down the road. Our simulators aren't the final answer, any more than Zeus was. They had to come from somewhere too. They live in a realer reality, messing with ours for who knows what reason, just like the gods on Mount Olympus. And this brings us to maybe the most urgent critique of all. Forget the cosmic debates for a second. What does believing this do to us, right here, right now? Well, it could create what's called a moral hazard, a dangerous excuse for doing nothing. Physicist Marcelo Gleiser really cuts to the chase. He says it's just way too convenient. When we have so many real-world problems to solve, believing we're in a simulation becomes the perfect out. We can just throw up our hands and say, hey, it's not my fault, it's just bad code. Which, as he points out, sounds exactly like the old excuse, it's God's will. And that really is the central question of this whole debate, isn't it? Is this idea a profound key to understanding existence, or is it just a profound high-tech excuse to check out and avoid our responsibilities? So, after all of this, the philosophy, the religion, the critiques, where does that leave us? Let's be real. If that announcement came tomorrow, what would actually change about your life on, say, Wednesday? I think this comment just brings everything right back down to earth. At the end of the day, simulation or not, you still have to pay rent. You still have to deal with traffic. You still have to care for the people you love. The nature of reality might be up for debate, but the reality of your life, that's not going anywhere.
And maybe that's the ultimate point. Discovering we're in a simulation wouldn't just rewrite science. It would force us to redefine what it means to be human. The big question would shift from what is all this to why is all this? And that would kick off a brand new human quest to find the boundaries of the system, to search for the glitches, and maybe, just maybe, figure out the purpose of the program.